Welcome to this week's episode of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters, the podcast we chart the cinematic legacy of the classic monsters. I'm John Campbell. With me, as always, Brendan Jones.
John! Maybe...
Yeah.
Okay, maybe this wasn't a good idea. And by that, I mean this podcast.
Yeah, right now, closing in on the end of season 4 of this show, we are going, you know what? I regret so many of our decisions.
All I could say is, this movie really was a journey for me. And I'll say this, and we haven't even said what it is.
Yeah.
That's okay, we will in a second. But this was my journey.
Yeah.
When it started, within like a couple of minutes,
Yeah.
maybe not even that long, my impression was this: what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Then the movie transforms. You stick with it. By the end of it,
Much like a lycanthrope.
yeah, exact. Oh, very good. By the end of the movie, I had gotten to a point where, the closing credits, my reaction was, what was that? Okay, maybe not a huge journey.
Yeah.
But there was a journey from what is to what was.
This movie is an experience. There's no question about that.
It's an experience I don't recommend anyone ever.
Honestly, run as far away. Even the fucking marsupials is more interesting than this.
Unbelievable statement.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely true.
Because
Marsupials is a terrible movie. But here's the thing. It's weird enough to where you're constantly shaking your head and kind of laughing because it's batshit nonsense.
It has
nonsense.
Both. So we're talking about the Howling 4, the original Nightmare. And all of a sudden I'm going, well, 2 and 3 had some energy in them. They were crazy and bad, but this is the thing about the Howling franchise, and I think we'll chart this going forward because we've got 3 more of these. Can this franchise stay on this track and keep getting worse? I don't know, but I would have said this when we did 3. It can't get worse than the marsupials.
Yeah.
And here we go. So, but I'm really feeling it going, it can't get worse than original Nightmare. It can't.
I think you're right. This is the nadir.
It's gotta be, right? I mean, I don't know how you can make something worse than this.
It's a non-movie. And the thing, I was looking at this thing, and weirdly, in a strange metatextual way, it has convinced me of the reality of the undead. Because the undead is this. The undead is something that does not live, that has no pulse.
Yeah.
Yet moves, speaks, exists. This movie has no pulse.
No.
It is a dead thing.
No,
and yet
this thing
it exists
and
it moves and speaks.
This is one of the most boring movies, not just on the show, but that I've ever seen, I think. My God, this thing.
Pacing is a word that this director and editor and actors have never heard the word pacing.
No, because it's not even doing a slow burn, because there's no burn.
There's no burn.
There's no spark.
This is a no burn.
Yeah. And it never does go anywhere.
It never does. And also, even if they build mythos and some sort of backstory, it still gives no reason for anything, no stakes. It's just, and people going like, well, essentially this isn't tied into the continuity. This is them rebooting and going close to the source material. This was the source material. Burn the source material.
No, that was the thing.
Because there is nothing here.
They talk about this movie is much more faithful to the novel, and my reaction to that is, thank God John Sayles and Joe Dante abandoned so much of the novel, because with every Howling sequel, that movie I already love becomes a fucking masterpiece.
A masterpiece. And I love that this thing says under story and whatever, under writers, based on the novels.
Yeah.
Based on the novels, plural, Howling 1, 2, and 3 by Gary Bradner. And I'm sitting there going, So they're saying that this film is based on 3 novels worth of character, story, and continuity. And all I can sit there going, wow, those books have got to be a horrible read. If you're saying that this is 3 books worth.
Oh, yeah.
Because holy shit. Apparently what we were missing, what Joe Dante and Sayles apparently thought that this storyline didn't need when they did their version. They decided, you know what? We don't need phantom nuns and ADR.
Yeah.
That was where they said, you know what? We're going to take a wild swing away from the source material.
The big swing they took was, I don't know, let's make this fun.
Let's make this have a point.
Because,
let's make it actually have stakes. Let's put tragedy in it. It's like, God damn it.
The first Howling, we have our quibbles with, but it is such a watchable movie. I've seen it 5-6 times. It's very fun.
Movie.
It's a very fun movie with good actors doing, and it when it's campy, it knows it's campy. Like it's fun, it's funny. I mean, Joe Dante, John Sayles, these are great filmmakers. Who do we have here? By the way, I should say, when we talk about based on 1, 2, and 3, according to this IMDb trivia, it borrows nothing from 2 and 3. It is really only based on the first Howling book. So they don't know where, they just, I guess, covered their bases with that by saying it's all 3, but it's really not. Right. It's really not. We have oh God, okay. Well, now I'm starting to see some of the trouble here. We have writer producer Clive Turner, and sadly, Brendan, get used to him because he's here for the ride for the rest of these Howlings.
I know.
But this is the guy who also brought us the Lawnmower Man. Oh God.
So in other words, this guy had an entire career, because I can't imagine the career still exists. Yeah. But had a career of turning out shit vaguely based on something of worth.
Yeah, I mean, people know, I mean, famously with The Lawnmower Man, there was a lawsuit so Stephen King could get his name off of it because it was released as Stephen King's The Lawnmower Man, despite the fact it has basically nothing to do with his short story, The Lawnmower Man, which isn't really even a movie, something you could base a movie on. It's a weird...
No, it's a weird little short story.
It's a great little King oddity. Like it's great, but it is not. I mean, some of Stephen King's short stories have become great movies, but Jesus Christ, The Lawnmower Man, and then it's all about virtual reality. And by the way, one of my favorite things about it is that Pierce Brosnan plays a guy named Larry Angelo in it. Does Pierce Brosnan look like a guy named Larry Angelo?
That's a trick question. I know you want me to say no, but
this writer, Clive Turner, Pierce Brosnan looks more like a Clive Turner to me.
That's true. A Clive, definitely.
I mean, because I don't care if he can do the accent or not. My God, Pierce Brosnan is a UK guy. There's no question about that the second he steps on screen. So we have Clive Turner writing and producing, and he will go on to direct and edit future Howling movies. So he's really good. He's really going to get. And then we have,
thank God, it's all in safe hands.
I know. John Huff we have directing here. Boy,
did they take his?
Not much of a career.
Okay, they took his license away. Okay, good.
Oh no! I mean, he did direct stuff after this, though not much. He's a BBC guy. He did the Avengers and the Protectors and things like that.
But as a second unit, an assistant director.
He eventually got up to first. He got to direct a few episodes.
Oh, he did. That's true.
But he also
he's our Twins of Evil guy. Holy shit! I'm just seeing that now.
I was getting to that. He's kind of known for doing this kind of stuff because I see a lot of. Oh, he did Dirty Mary, Crazy Larry. I actually like that movie. The Peter Fonda.
He did the Witch Mountain movies.
Yes, he did the Witch Mountain movies. He did The Watcher. So he goes on to be a Disney guy. Okay, but then you start to see stuff like Triumph of a Man Called Horse. So now start the sequels to good stuff. Well,
listen. I mean, I try not to be ageist, but I will say that by the time we're getting into the 80s, I'm only assuming that this guy was already kind of past whatever whatever he had, because it just goes down from here, and it's bad stuff. It is literally just bad stuff.
I saw American Gothic.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's not great.
I saw Biggles Adventures in Time.
Oh, I that one, you got me on that one.
All right.
I can't say I've had the pleasure, sir. Oh boy,
terrible.
Boy, this, just looking at the poster for Biggles Adventures in Time, it looks like a cheap piece of crap version of a lot of
what
stuff
they were
I
trying
did
to
like.
do was, Biggles is a British like pulp hero going way back.
Ooh, cushions,
and so
in it.
They were trying to make him a little bit like a kid's Indiana Jones type guy by this point.
That's the vibe I get from the poster once again. So I'm going, this looks like a movie I would have watched.
With a bigger budget, and because it looks so cheap, with a bigger budget and a better script and a different director, it could have possibly been good. They were just sort of cashing in on, hey, British kids, they remember Biggles, or at least their parents do.
1986 Peter Cushing. He's looking pretty old from what I see here, too, in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got William Hootkins. Porkins was in this movie.
Thank God.
Yeah. And, of course, more than Porkins even, he's Detective Eckhart in Batman 1989. These guys. Yeah. These guys are drinking Drano. One of my favorites.
We love that.
Yeah.
We love that.
We reference 89 Batman a lot because it's a brilliant movie. But I will say I do like this. There's a quote from Clive Turner that he talks about. He was originally supposed to direct, but when the financiers pulled out, they had to get veteran horror director John Huff in to direct at the last minute with what money remained. Oh, I can see that. Oh, this movie feels that way.
God. And I will say that, when we're talking Howling 4, again, it's like I can't imagine this was a passion project for anybody.
Well, the fact that
it
literally
feels like
they brought in Huff at the absolute last minute and go, hey, you got this much, and he's like, all right, fine, I guess I can do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Clive Turner,
and I will say this, he couldn't.
No. And
we liked Twins of Evil, if you recall, or at least we enjoyed it.
Actually, I thought Twins of Evil was the best of the Karnstein trilogy.
Of the Karnstein, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was the most fun. Like, that one was fun. I would watch that one again. The other ones, I don't think so. But in an interview with Fangoria magazine, Clive Turner said that he was disappointed with John Huff's directing, but that in the end, we ended up with a reasonable film. Wrong, Clive. Wow. Nothing is reasonable about this movie.
Nothing is reasonable.
There's no well, it wasn't what I envisioned, but it was solid. No, it's not.
It is.
It's
a non-film.
Exactly. I think that's what it is. I can't even call it like one of the worst films we've done because it's not even a film. That's unfair to other films we've watched.
I know. This feels like a student film.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why it's startling that this guy,
at
the very least, a long career being professional, could turn out something this amateur.
Yeah.
It's so amateur. It's horrible. Oh God, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm
sorry to come in so hot.
How about the fact that, and this tells you the whole movie as far as I'm concerned. The budget was so low that the movie was shot without sound and all audio was dubbed in post-production. Number one, that's painfully obvious when you watch the movie.
Holy
and two,
shit.
That tells you exactly the level of film we're dealing with here.
Yep.
You're just like, oh, man. And
well, good ADR is still noticeable.
Yeah. Yes.
But actors, it's a skill set, and sometimes you're like, wow, it loses nothing of the energy. We're dealing with some not very good actors in this film, and I guarantee if the sound had been live recorded, it wouldn't have been much better because we're talking about wooden-faced actors.
Better, though.
But the ADR drains further life out of the performances, so it almost is a negative effect. I have a feeling that whatever life could have been in their performances live has taken a great step back.
When you talk about student film, let me share an anecdote from my film school days that connects to this, which is when I was my second year in film school, there was like another guy who was jockeying for the position of like the film guy in the school. And he was doing this thing that he put up posters for his movie showing at the and it was just like, fuck up. Like, this guy thinks he's the Spielberg of this department or whatever. But what he had done was he goes, oh, this is great. I will not shoot the movie with any sound, and I'll record it all afterwards. That way I have complete control. His movie looked like shit because not only is ADR tough in general, but he has, like, student actors. So it was all wrong, and it was a mess. And it ended up being this weird... Like it felt like you were watching a foreign film because it was dubbed, and I just remember thinking, as soon as I heard he did that, I go not to pat myself on the back, but I did beat him at that festival, and I won the best film
physically. Wait, yeah, you beat him physically?
I beat the living shit out of this other nerd. I mean, actually, it's one of the few fights where I probably would have had an even chance because it was another film nerd. Like, the two of us, It would have been a sad fight to witness, I think, is what it would have been. But
anything that you could have done as a student filmmaker would still look.
Actually, his movie was better than this, though.
Yeah,
the Howling Four, and also, here's the thing. I do have a lot of background on this movie, though, which is kind of funny that it's... I love when the disasters... Because we maybe even need to back off on John Huff, although, once again, I don't know who... But the original version by John Huff that he turned in was different to the movie that was released. When the movie was finished, Huff was in England while post-production was performed in Los Angeles by Clive Turner. The final version has little resemblance to what Huff shot. Turner had recut and redubbed the movie. There was tons of stuff that was reshot and re-edited by Turner.
Well, I'll say...
I'm not saying that Huff, there's a secret Huff cut of this movie that's brilliant, but...
No, yeah, because, even if this was reshuffled and stuff like that, what we're looking at looks terrible.
Right.
So in other words, all right, there may be a cut, but it can't be better. It just can't, because the raw material that got rejiggered is awful.
Although
awful shit.
Huff has completely disowned this movie and said, "I'm very sorry. I really enjoyed Joe Dante's The Howling, and this is terrible." So give it to John Huff for at least saying that movie stunk.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say, still with us, Mr. Huff. So,
good.
He's still alive out there.
Good.
Oh, he did The Legend of Hell House. I actually like that.
All right, calm down.
I don't love The Legend of Hell House, but it's pretty good. I'm just saying, like, the guy does have some horror cred.
Yes, no, absolutely.
And if this movie had the vibe of Twins of Evil or the Legend of Hell House and stuff like that, it could have been fun, but it doesn't. There's no fun to be had at all. Anyway, here we go. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this poster, which is a nothing poster. We can almost not talk about it because it's mostly white, except for maybe the one.
It looks like a paperback dust jacket because they're wanting to emphasize, strangely, text.
Yeah.
So a good 3/4 of it is just a white column with Howling in a very sterile font.
Yeah.
And then the number 4 is where they decided we're going to get horror with it. And you're like, really? The Roman numeral is your
There's
selling
something
point?
funny to me, too, about the giant 4 for a movie that doesn't connect to any kind of continuity.
I know. It is huge and is made out of like slash or blood streak.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, nice big Roman numeral 4. And then under it, and again, a very sterile font.
Yeah.
Very 80s, I guess. But
very, yeah.
The original Nightmare. Then over on the left...
it's a very sad looking werewolf.
It's a werewolf painting, and it's a sad looking werewolf, but it looks better than anything in the fucking movie.
Oh, I mean the pathetic werewolf design in this movie is really embarrassing. I mean, it's
well, what's really embarrassing is that they put clearly the entire budget into one full body mix of makeup, mix of puppetry, werewolf.
Yeah.
Now, everyone else in town, though, is supposed to also be a werewolf. So what we get then is, sorry, all we can do for the rest of you, it's going to look like you didn't finish transforming. So you look like knockoff Larry Talbots with some fur on your cheeks and big fangs. That's all we can do for you. And then, so we get 3 different kinds of werewolves. We get puppet werewolf, the main one. We get locals with some fucking, Brillo pads glued to their cheeks.
Real haphazardly and quickly, too, yeah.
Yes, and then we have dogs.
And dogs. Yeah, just dogs.
That's your werewolves. And by the way, we need to state this before we even get into the plot. If you came to this movie for these werewolves, we're talking about the 3 werewolves.
Even the bad werewolves, yeah.
Even the bad werewolves, blink and you'll miss them.
And they're all in the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, this is a movie that says we're about werewolves, but we're gonna dance as long as we can without showing you them.
I was texting someone as I was watching this, and I go, an hour in, no werewolves.
I clocked the first werewolf attack at 38 minutes into this movie. And that's the first werewolf attack, but we don't see the werewolf.
Exactly. That's it. Exactly.
I'm like, 38 minutes into a werewolf movie, we got our first indication of a werewolf, but we don't see it.
I think it's about an hour 10 that we actually catch a glimpse of a werewolf briefly.
Jesus Christ, this movie.
I know.
I don't know if the people at home can understand or pick up
what
on.
we have been
Are we being
through.
Too subtle?
Yeah. God damn it, this movie. I mean, really.
I've said this before, and I know that maybe there's some sort of, who knows, maybe someone's tracking this. I've said things like this before, but I do mean it. If this film were a sentient walking thing, I would find where it lives.
Yeah.
And I would full on just sneak attack it, and I would start hitting it in the back of the head.
And
I would start curb stomping this movie.
No court in the world would convict you.
I know, and I'm not a violent person, but I want to harm this movie.
No, I finished this movie in a rage.
Yes,
in a rage. I mean, so I guess if the point of film is to incite emotion of some sort. Well, I was angry. I was very angry when I finished this thing. Boy, let's dive into the plot, quote unquote. Yeah. So we start with, oh Jesus, you talk about Romy Walthall.
I think that may be her eventual or married name, but she is listed in the credits as Romy Windsor.
Okay, there you go. And
she did pass away very young, which is young. So I'm very 57. Sorry for that.
Very sad to say that. Let's get that out of the way and say she is dreadful in this movie.
I see that most of the stuff that she did on her IMDb is TV stuff, and I gotta say, if she is a named character on a TV show, she would not probably upset you so much. She looked like she was in a Quantum Leap. She did some whatever. She did a Love Boat or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's
she
fine.
did a Perry Mason TV movie.
So I think that's fine. That is about the level that we're talking about.
Yeah. Oh my God, I know her from something.
Face Off.
One of my favorite movies. She plays John Travolta's secretary in Face Off.
There you go.
Yeah, I actually now I can click the face in because I've seen Face Off about 20 times. So
yes, but talk about plug-in actor.
She has a couple of lines to Travolta in that thing, but I do know okay, all right. Go watch Face Off, everybody. It rules.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite trash movies.
Oh my God, it is. I love the How This Get Made description of it's best enjoyed as kabuki theater. I think that's true. It's not living anywhere close to the real world. So we start with her, and she's getting on this elevator, and there's a nun next to her until there isn't.
Yeah, this is our first appearance of a phantom nun, and it happens very quickly. And of course, it also makes you, as you're watching your werewolf movie, go, "What?"
Yep.
Though, of course, in my brain, I was like, "Oh God, please, no more nun werewolves," which it turns out it's not the case.
No, in fact, I could have done with some nun werewolves.
Well, done
with any kind of werewolves.
This did make me long for the sweet embrace of marsupials, but the thing is, this all right. I will also say this as a sweeping statement about the movie.
Yeah,
this movie makes no attempt. Even later, we meet this character without knowing who she is. We don't get too much backstory or names. This movie is also terrible about just setting up where are we.
Yeah.
We eventually do discover, because there's talk of LA, but are they in a different country talking about LA?
No,
because it doesn't feel like America.
I took it to be that we're supposed to start in LA and then go into like Northern California.
It is what they're implying, but where they end up,
that would fit
which of
with
course
the first movie,
the whole thing is shot in South Africa, but where they end up looks like it could possibly be like a New Mexico desert town.
Yes, it does
Northern
have
California
or
does
Nevada,
not look
maybe.
like
that.
Yeah. But it is ridiculous. It's like, what are we?
They shot this movie in South Africa.
And it is all ADR.
Yeah.
And what's hilarious is
and you know ADR, right away. Like the second I heard
right away.
The second I heard the lobby of the building she's in, I go, they added this.
And we don't know character relationships to each other, because she walks in and she meets an
actual just straight up South African guy.
A straight up South African guy who also, I gotta say, is one of, I am extremely impressed that automatons have come this far. I mean, and I believe he was made of possibly a high density wood.
Yeah.
He's a tall, handsome,
made of rich mahogany,
ambulatory wooden statue that gives no emotion. She starts flirting with him, even though he's kind of like going, "You're my favorite client." We're like, "What are you talking about?"
Anthony Hamilton is this actor. And actually, he's not South African. He's Australian.
Okay, but he's constantly struggling with an accent throughout the whole thing.
He's oh, Jesus Christ. He auditioned for the role of James Bond. Oh, thank God that didn't happen.
Oh, holy hell.
Yeah, I don't...
Well,
he's totally wrong physically.
By auditioned for... That means that he had a video camera in his apartment and he did some lines and mailed it in.
James Bond.
I also think
that... mate.
Speaking of videotape, I don't know about the copy you saw.
If it's the one that was on Amazon, then it is the copy I saw. And I
can only assume that the only existing copy, whether it's the Huff version or not, was on one video cassette that actually probably fell out of someone's bag as they were getting on a bus and may have ended up in like a puddle.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh shit," and they brushed it off. And let it dry out, and then they went straight.
I didn't watch this on like somebody's YouTube. This is on Amazon.
Yes, and it's blurry.
And that's the thing. So that Amazon will get the best copy available. So that tells you what
I was checking my glasses. I mean, my eyes are getting worse as I get older. But I was like, oh my God, no! I am wearing my glasses.
No, the movie's that blurry.
Eye?
Yeah.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Anthony Hamilton. I just want to. We sadly lost him in '95 due to AIDS. So that's.
That's terrible.
That is terrible. But I do want to say this same year. I just, based on this, I can't believe you'd give him anything. He was a regular on the 1988 reboot of Mission Impossible. Do you remember when they did Mission Impossible again?
Yep.
He was one of the guys on the IMF team in that. That tells you that was a bad show.
It was a bad show. It was a syndicated thing.
Yes.
I mean, I actually find it kind of interesting and would love to have the time and resources to do like a book on syndicated TV, because it rose in the 80s and kind of died by the 90s or in the mid-90s.
Well, Next Generation kicked it off in 87, really big time.
And that is, of course, a great success. But we're also talking about a world that gave us, My Secret Identity and Small Wonder
and
things like that.
Friday the 13th, the television series.
The series, yes, and Freddy's Nightmares. And also things like The New Monkeys.
Yeah.
And stuff like, I mean...
It was a lot of nostalgia stuff, really.
It was a lot of nostalgia stuff, but it was all on the cheap.
Yes.
So that new Mission Impossible, that syndicated thing, I watched some of it. I was like, God damn.
Yeah, I watched the first episode of it somewhat recently.
Shot on video.
Yeah, I watched the first episode of it somewhat recently because...
Really?
Yeah, well, no surprise here. I do listen to a Mission Impossible podcast, and they watched the pilot of it, so I watched along with them. Yes, a quick shout-out to the guys over at Lighting the Fuse, the Mission Impossible podcast.
Dun, dun, dun,
yes, because I am a huge Mission Impossible fan. Not of the 88. I love the original series and the movies, not so much
That's
the
all
88
you need. That's
reboot.
all you need to talk about. Yeah.
And the Nintendo game that was associated with the 88 reboot, also terrible.
Wow.
Which I've only... that I didn't play, but I did watch some guys on YouTube play a little bit of it, and it was terrible. Yeah.
So this is...
Yeah.
Back on track.
Yeah, she meets with the guy who throughout the whole movie I only refer to in my notes as hunky literary agent.
Right. And why I was bringing up how
he's distractingly handsome.
He's very handsome, and they are flirty. So I'm like, is there more here? Is this our boyfriend character? And we quickly are disavowed of that.
Wouldn't that have been a lot simpler?
Yeah. Well, it would have been effective if it had played out in any other way other than him showing up and the boyfriend getting jealous of like, you've been flirting with that guy, blah, blah, blah. And then he dies in the end. Spoiler, he gets killed.
Wait. He did screen test for Cubby Broccoli for Living Daylights.
Again, what that means is he cornered the guy in a bathroom, and that's because there's no way.
Oh, that's not good though. Broccoli apparently rejected him partially due to his known homosexuality.
Okay, well that's not good either.
That's too bad. Still, he would have been terrible as James Bond. He doesn't look like James Bond at all. Like I'm not
a very handsome guy.
He is, but like, yeah, I love Daniel Craig, and he's a blonde James Bond, but he still looks like James Bond in other capacities. This guy looks nothing like what I would imagine James Bond looking like.
No, and
they gave it to Timothy Dalton, who I love as a James Bond.
The thing that would have been a much easier and understandable and politically correct thing to have said about. I turned him down for the part. Instead of known homosexuality, it could have just been, this guy is fucking shit actor.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense to the man's life, his legacy, whatever, but regardless,
the guy can't act.
He can't act. And this movie is all the proof you need. He just sits there and he is a block of fucking mahogany.
Well, even before he died, his career hits the skids. Like, I mean, that's the thing is like he does burn himself out because he can't act.
Find another line of
I believe
work,
Cubby Broccoli specifically said, "Let that shitty Mission Impossible have him." Because that was like right after that was right after Living Daylight. So he was like, can't do Bond. Damn. I'll do what at the time was the much shittier espionage thing. What's interesting now is they're pretty neck and neck, the Mission Impossible and Bond franchises.
Ooh, snap.
Yeah. Okay, so she's talking to him, and then she just starts staring at the fire on this grill.
Yeah, they're on like a rooftop restaurant in a fancy building.
Oh, that's right. You're gonna get your book going, and
her name we find out is Marie, and she is supposedly a very famous author,
which they go into no details about.
Details, and this guy is her literary agent.
Yeah.
Even though they're flirty.
His side job as a male model, which this guy was at the time.
And then she is staring into the grill on the rooftop restaurant, and then suddenly Phantom Nun again standing by the flames, and she goes, "What?" She's having a vision, and then in the flames, a very quick kind of wolf face, and she goes, "Ah!"
But so quick, I went. I mean, I know it's a Howling movie, so I kind of just assumed it was a wolf, but I'm like, wait, what was that?
Yeah.
But I couldn't make out any details of it.
Yep. And basically this is our quick cut to she's in psychiatric care.
I mean, right away. Yeah,
right away.
Right to psychiatric care. And so she's explaining these things, because he goes, well, the psychiatrist there is going, well, it's time to this is hilarious to me when he just goes, we need to get you somewhere away from your imagination.
Yeah,
because that's the problem. And she goes, but my imagination is my livelihood, doctor. I'm a famous writer.
Yeah, it's pretty much. Wow.
Yeah.
You just encapsulated this acting.
As she said, she has an upcoming deadline for the advance they've already given her. So, hey, doc, give her some pills and let her write her fucking book.
This is where, I mean, the people online saying, well, this is just a rehash of the original. Ish. Yeah. I mean, again, it may just be, we don't know the novel.
Woman gets out of town, and there's werewolves kind of.
Yeah, professional woman who's had some sort of trauma. Yeah. In the first one, it's because it's a TV newswoman who has run into a shape-changing serial killer.
That was great.
And then she goes to like a very frou-frou California feel-good,
John Sayles,
psychotherapy camp.
John Sayles, that script works.
It totally works.
It's not a genius piece of writing, but it works structurally.
Here, it's a best-selling author who has a vision, and basically the doctor says, get out of your head, go to this place in California or wherever it's supposed to be, and it's called Drago. I guess we should feel better that it's not called Flow.
Oh, okay. This isn't even from the book. I'm looking. Okay, because I've just pulled up the book on Wikipedia here.
Are you going to say, we'll be right back. John's about to read the novel.
No.
So
I'm just looking
let's go ahead and pause it.
Yeah, I'm going to just quickly flip through. What is it here? It's about 190 pages, it says. So that shouldn't take me too long. No, here's the plot of the book. When middle class, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'll just give you the setup.
Please.
When middle-class wife Karen Beatty is attacked and raped in her Los Angeles home, she suffers a miscarriage and a nervous breakdown. Already, way better than this. I follow that psychologically. She and her husband leave the city and go to stay in the secluded California mountain village of Drago. So that they took.
They kept that.
Yeah. And then it's the same thing where she continues to hear a strange howling sound from the woods. And then that causes marriage trouble as she seemingly becomes more and more unstable. The husband has an affair with the local shopkeeper. That's in here.
Right, okay. What about the bell? The bell tower and
none of that.
The bell from Romania.
That's all here. That's all in this.
So
movie.
They did keep to some of it. All right.
I mean, then it kind of turns into more like the first the Dante movie, where they eventually come to discover the town is populated by werewolves, and her husband's best friend comes up with his silver bullets, and they start shooting at them, and it ends up.
And then that's the first movie.
The third act is close. The third act of the first movie is closer to the end of the book, from the sound of it here.
All right.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, what we're getting. I'm not saying at this point, who knows if the book is any good, but I'm just saying that all this picking and choosing between stuff in the hands of a John Sayles is like, I'll take what works and I'll build a whole new thing out of it, which is good.
As we talked about, he'll build in some satirical and themes of the time with TV news, with sort of weird frou-frou psychotherapy stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know
why? This John Sayles is a genius, man. Like I said, that's not like his finest work, but the guy is legitimately a fucking genius filmmaker.
He is indeed a great writer as well.
If you have not seen Lone Star,
in this case, you got nonsense where they're patting themselves on the back for being, well, this is the original. This is us, and you're like, no,
it's not even the book.
It's close enough, but
like. Where is why is she seeing the nun? I don't follow.
Especially here at the beginning of it, she hasn't gone to this town yet.
Right.
Is she some sort of psychic? Because we do end up knowing about Sister Brooks or whatever.
Well,
we end up.
I thought the other nun should be the main character.
Yes, because I mean that at least she has a connection to that character.
Yeah.
This woman is a successful writer who has never been to Drago.
Yeah.
And is not a werewolf or a werewolf hunter.
No.
Why is she having these visions in the first place? They never bothered to even fucking explain.
I don't know. Yeah, it's terrible. Let's get to the one person I did recognize in this movie, which is her very, very bemulleted husband. That thing's a mullet and a half, man.
It's beautiful, John.
It's glorious on the very hunky Michael T. Weiss,
who when you said I recognize someone from this, I had the same thing when I'm watching it, and I was like, right, not by name, but the face, and I'm like going, this dude was born for soap opera acting, and I think that's what I know him from. I guess I could look on his IMDb.
Days of Our Lives. 85 to 90s on Days of Our Lives. And I think this might have also been syndicated. He was in the reboot of Dark Shadows.
I will say this.
Which did not last long.
Happy.
Ooh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was on that? That's interesting.
I am happy that apparently at some point, and this was very early in his career.
Yeah.
Perhaps over the years of Days of Our Lives, he learned some acting because he did go on to appear in things and do voiceover work for things that I really like. But holy shit, is he again? He's wood for wood.
He is.
Wood for wood up against Anthony. It's good lord.
I mean, Brendan, we're jumping over the obvious here. That's the Pretender in this movie, which was a childhood favorite of mine. I loved The Pretender as a kid because, as we've talked about, anything where a guy vaguely had powers or abilities of some sort, I was watching as a kid. And The Pretender was fun.
I did like The Pretender.
It was a fun idea for a show.
It was a fine idea for a show, and it lasted long enough.
They did 4 seasons and 2 movies.
Man, I never saw any of those movies.
Oh, yeah. Pretender 2001 and Pretender Island of the Haunted.
Oh, my God. But again, he got better. And good for him.
Yes, he definitely did.
Oh, and I do love. Oh God, I didn't. Now that I'm looking at the Pretender IMDb, Michael T. Weiss as the lead character Jared, but I forgot that John Grease was also in pretty much the entire series, which means another werewolf guy.
Yes,
that we'll be talking about next week.
Love John Grease.
And we already talked about as another werewolf.
Yes,
the guy in 1 year,
born
to
a
play couple of werewolves.
A werewolf. Well, and by the way, Brendan, I know you've been watching through Young Justice.
Of course.
And Michael T. Weiss is the voice of Captain Adam on there.
Yeah. Again, I gotta say, congratulations, man, that you figured out at least something of worth to do.
Well, and for kids of the 90s, the early 2000s, he was the voice of Tarzan on the TV spinoff of the Disney Tarzan movie.
Which I never watched. But,
I think I watched some of, but I love that Tarzan movie.
I love the animation of Tarzan, and I love the voice work of the lovely. Why am I blanking?
Minnie Driver.
Jane. Minnie Driver as Jane was great.
Tony Goldwyn did a good Tarzan too.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. The music, I don't want Tarzan with songs, and I don't want Tarzan with Rosie O'Donnell anywhere near it. It's just like,
it's still a Disney movie, Brendan.
But the animation was great.
Another childhood favorite of mine. I love that Tarzan.
I know. With the age gap is showing again, John.
I'll be in your heart. Come on.
All right, we got to go.
Phil Collins, man. Those were great Phil Collins songs.
We have to go.
All right. So
we have to talk about.
So they drive up to the country. The instantly sinister sheriff pulls them over. Dear God.
The comically sinister because there's no immediate basis, unless obviously the idea is this is a closed community, so of course they're going to be suspicious of any outsiders.
Yeah.
But it is ludicrous how stereotypical and weirdly Southern. If they're in California, everyone they run into in this little California town is trying to be fucking, it's Cool Hand Luke. Everyone's like going, well, now you're not from around here.
Yeah,
and I'm like, they don't sound like that in remote California.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
I'm going to put you in the box for 12 hours.
Lee J. Cobb, what are you doing here?
Yeah, there is no reason they sound like this.
No, I did,
And
again, welcome to Northern California. It's wine country.
We are dealing
with Pinot Noir.
South Africans trying to sound American and then also trying to sound Southern for some reason.
South Africans trying to sound American. This may not even be the actors' voices for all we know. Because they redubbed everything. So there's a good chance these were local South African actors with then LA voice actors,
But that means that they somehow found voice actors as bad as the physical actors.
Well, because once again, can we afford? People who can't act.
Yep.
Across the board, this thing is a disaster. Yeah, Michael T. Weiss, the only guy to escape this kind of world eventually. I guess maybe he took some acting classes.
Yeah. Because
this guy is not ready to carry a network show by any stretch of the imagination.
No, sir.
And because I was like, oh, good, the Pretenders here. Well, oh no.
One of his line readings is one of my favorite things in the movie.
Oh, we'll have to get to that.
We're not to it yet.
So they get to the cabin.
Yeah, so crazy writer woman Marie and her mulleted boyfriend who is not her
It is
agent.
interesting that what is it? Why couldn't they have combined the agent and boyfriend character? I mean,
because they wanted to do kind of that, to have that tension between two alpha male types. But they don't build it into the story very well.
Because the agent disappears for huge chunks of the movie.
Yeah, and then when he shows back up, it's then like the boyfriend gets reactivated into jealousy mode. Yeah. You're like, okay, great. So we're back on that story now?
But in a very, stay away from my girl.
Yeah, it is.
Don't you?
Everything is delivered sleepily.
The physicality between them is boring.
Yes, even the sinister sheriff and the nice townspeople. Everyone is in no hurry
what are you doing
to get their dialogue across.
What are you doing in my town here?
Yeah. So you guys are just visiting? Yeah.
But the first sign of trouble when they get to the cabin, there are claw marks on the outside of the cabin.
Yep.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm sure it's nothing. Yeah.
Perhaps that was the wind.
Well, here's a weird thing, though. The agent has driven her up here, not the husband. The husband is meeting her later because he's going to go back and forth because he still has work in Los Angeles.
Yes, but weird. I will say that it's another thing where you're sitting there going, the tone of, that's why I'm like, what are these people's relationship to each other?
Yeah.
Because, and I mean, that's them trying to set up where the source of the jealousy is, but they're doing it so lamely.
Yeah.
Because she is putting her hand on the guy's knee and he drops her off and she's like, see you later. And bye now. I miss you. And I'm like, okay, have they had a relationship? Or what's going on? But yeah, he just drops her off in Drago, and then the boyfriend guy shows up.
Yeah, it's very. And she goes, "Oh, he should stay the night." And the Pretender shuts that down. He's like,
"Yeah, it's
way.
It's a long drive back to L.A. and why can't the guy just stay here?" And the boyfriend's like, "He doesn't need to. I don't want him here."
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the agent guy's like, look, I don't want to cause any trouble.
Hi, mate. I don't want to bother you. I'm just going to go back and put some shrimp on the barbie.
He does say that. That's another indicator. You would think that they would want to disguise his nationality.
No, he immediately walked into and said, y'all got a Foster's?
Yes. And the whole, you call that a knife?
Yeah. Nah, a knife. I
was like, why are you...
Yeah. I heard Paul Hogan was the first choice for this part, actually. But they couldn't
He's the first choice for so much.
Yeah, that's why he's still working so much to this day. He wasn't a one-hit wonder of acting, but Who could forget Lightning Jack?
Oh boy.
The way this is cut, it seems like as soon as the agent leaves, they start having sex.
Yeah.
I don't think it's supposed to be, but just the way it's cut is like hard cut to they're in bed going at it.
Yeah, and I'll say this. I'm not sure of what tone they're taking with this movie and all this, and so I'm like, okay, are they going to go full trash movie?
Yeah.
No, they make out, and our lead actress never gets nude.
Oh, but somebody will. Don't worry.
Somebody will, and it is another wow, let's lean into the first movie again.
True to the first movie, the lead actress doesn't have to do any nudity, but the sexy werewolf lady sure does.
Sexy werewolf lady sure will.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically the boyfriend going, "I'll show you some lovin'."
Yeah, I will pretend. Since I'm the pretender.
I'll pretend that I am aroused in any way, which can't actually.
Well, yeah, you talk about even the sex is lazy. Like, I mean, it's all just like, I guess, we're making out, okay. But of course, this all gets interrupted because there's a howling outside.
You know what you can get away with once in your werewolf movie is coitus interruptus because of a werewolf howl. They do this twice in the movie. The next time they start making out, it also gets interrupted by a wolf howl that only apparently she hears.
Well, and actually, we should say it's less of a wolf howl and more of the guy from the band leader from the second movie going, howling.
Yeah. Oh, and I do also have to say,
the song?
The movie opens with the theme song by Justin Hayward of the Moody Blues. And yes,
and that's like the big get for them in this movie.
It's a big get because weirdly, the Moody Blues had an uptick in the 80s. They had like a comeback album, so they were. I saw them in concert. They had a sudden like, oh my God, we got another hit after like 15 or 18 years of nothing. But so here he comes with his very smooth vocals, the same guy who did Nights in White Satin.
I know,
but this isn't the Moody Blues; it's just him. But
it's
the whole
just
song is
him.
Like,
that's key.
Something evil, something dangerous,
and that is the title of the song. Is something evil?
It
and
is
something dangerous.
So stupid, and it's so lazy
in white
synth
fur.
ballad.
That's all I could think.
80s nonsense.
Nights in werewolf face.
Yeah.
Never eating your face.
It is just
and it doesn't fit the movie at all.
No,
because the movie.
Well, I mean,
like we said, the movie doesn't even know what tone it's striking.
That's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what song they would have put on there.
It just further confuses but it's just like, oh my God, now I've got this Moody Blues sounding song in here, and you go, what is going on in this movie, man?
Howling.
I know. I actually long for those days. That was fun.
By the way, your sister's a werewolf.
I keep forgetting that. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah, that's all right. Maybe I should have said that off, Mike. But yeah, your sister's totally a werewolf.
She's coming on the show next season, so we'll have to ask my sister about her werewolf ways. Her werewolfery.
Werewolfery.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, we're in the little town.
Yeah, but they go to the town. They go to the town.
They visit the shops.
They visit the shops, including this one. What would you call it? A curio shop that's run by.
It's like a general store.
Oh no! There's the general store. I'm talking about the one run by the mysterious sexy woman.
I have no idea what that store is.
Yeah, that's why.
It seems like she's always tending to like floral arrangements. I'm like, is it supposed to be a floral shop that also has weird shit in it? I have no idea.
That's what I mean. A curio shop is what I landed on.
And
the best way
they have cast this non-actress who actually weirdly appears.
Jesus Christ.
I noticed that she appeared in the Lady and the Highwayman or whatever it's called, which is the next movie that the same director did.
Oh, yeah.
Same year.
Oh, great.
With a young Hugh Grant.
Yeah, the TV movie.
So,
oh wow. Someone's career ending.
Played the Queen.
Oh God, someone's career ending is someone's career is beginning on that one for sure, right? Because she's terrible, and that's it. That's the last thing she ever appeared in.
She just looks like a model, and the idea is that she is like Marsha in the first movie.
God, this looks boring.
because they've made her exotic, and they've made her 80s exotic, so she's got weird eye makeup, her hair is all 80s out. But I mean, why would someone that looks like this be running this little curio shop in a nowhere town?
Yeah.
Probably because she's a werewolf queen type person.
Yeah, that'll do. And like I said, there is that character type is in the Dante movie, and that character version is in the book.
And here she does exactly what you expect, only much worse. Very woodenly, very slowly. This entire movie is like one of those white noise machines. I had such trouble staying awake.
No, I did
because it operates on a level where it's like I'm trying to lull you to sleep.
No, there are no peaks in this at all. No. If you're looking at the waveform of this, it's just flat.
She's doing the standard, like, I will be nice to the woman, but I will make clear, sexy eyes at the boyfriend.
Who instantly is like, hello.
And like, can I interest you in something?
Yeah.
And her accent is weird. It's like
the guy just having a noticeable erection in the scene was really, I thought, in poor taste.
It's just totally Will Ferrell and Anchorman.
Anchorman, yeah. You have a massive erection.
You have a massive...
it's actually an optical illusion. It's the pleat in the pants.
The pleat of the pants.
And my favorite is when he's walking away, he looks at a guy and just goes, don't act like you're not impressed.
Don't pretend you're not impressed.
Oh, how we wish we were watching Anchorman.
Holy shit.
One of my absolute favorite comedies.
It's still funny.
Yeah.
This thing isn't that.
Not a laugh in this picture. Not a laugh, not a scare, not anything, man. There's no thrills or tension ever.
No, and even speaking about, I mean, let's say that you're our old guy going around going, is there titties? There are. Is it going to do anything for you? Not a damn thing.
Even the titties are bored.
Yes, and
that's no offense to the woman, but the way that scene is shot is so non-erotic.
The pretender is literally laying there like he's a corpse with a woman writhing on top of him. He's pretending he's alive. He's pretending there's an erection.
Yeah.
He's pretending all over that thing, and not well. He just looks like, do I just lay here while she does some...
In actuality, his penis had retreated into his body during that scene.
I imagine him turning to the director and go, so are you sure you want me to just lie here? Yeah, that's great. No, that's great. That's exactly right. That's what you should be doing.
And even she's not exactly energetic in the scene. She's on top of him and naked, but that's about it.
But she's lethargically kind of like... writhing. It's not even writhing. It's just sort of.
It's devoid of any eroticism at all.
It's like lean back, lean forward,
and it almost seems like she's naked, but in a like. So I guess I take my clothes off now. Like once again, nobody is enjoying any of this.
So there is no one's enjoying any part of this film.
I mean, I know. Wow. Okay, look, we talked about the unfortunate thing with the nudity in the first Howling movie, but the way Dante shot that had, I think we talked about this. It had this cool mix of horror and sensuality that really worked, right? Like it's sexy but scary at the same time. That was cool.
It was similar beats, as in it's sexy. There's sex going on, and then there's transformation, kind of like biting and clawing. So it builds. Even it's a brief scene, and then it ends in some unfortunate stop motion, but it still doesn't matter. The point is made.
It shows you what happens when a good director directs the same scene, right? Like,
well, I mean,
forget budget, even just general like composition of shots and directing of
acting. How some movies now, especially, and anime, will put like a warning on it saying like there may be strobing effects that may cause seizures in some people. And this is the first movie I've ever seen, and I don't know if it's from the original release, that begins with, this film may induce coma in anyone watching it, because there is the absence of life in this, and it drains you watching it.
I blacked out for a solid 48 hours after watching this movie.
I got some work done while this movie was on. I was working on files and stuff for our upcoming show. I'm like,
the movie, truly, I was looking around for anything, a book, looking at my phone. I mean, I was going, God, I want to be doing anything but paying attention to this movie.
I know. God damn, this movie. All right, sorry. So we've met. I don't even know what the character's name is. What's her name?
It's wait.
Just werewolf lady.
It's I called her mysterious woman.
Her name is Eleanor.
Yeah, I just called her mysterious woman throughout my
Eleanor G. I think you're boring, even though you're ostensibly hot.
Yeah, this is one of our real song parody heavy eepisodes.
Yeah.
So
we get a cease and desist from Weird Al Yankovic.
So
guys, that's my stuff.
Don't come in on and I'm just like, hey, we got any correspondence from Weird Al.
That would be great.
So they then go into the general store, which is run by the kindly couple. And and it's a real like, how about you and I talk while the men grab the stuff? And oh boy, this acting of Michael T. Weiss and this other guy just in the background going, how about that jar? Yes, that's good. That jam that you need for this.
And then to match that, in the foreground, we have this kind of acting. How did you know that we had come into town? Oh, well, I'm kind of a busybody. It's my thing to know when anything happens in town. Jesus Christ. Oh, your sheriff is sure a meanie. Yeah, he can be kind of like that. But he does good job protecting all of us.
I love the cut to the sheriff just sitting on the chair outside of the sheriff's building.
Yeah, and where he's just like picking his teeth with a fucking or smoking. He's got shades on, and when he walks in the store in a few seconds, and he doesn't say a fucking word, and they're like, "Yeah, your package is right there," and then he walks out again, and that's when it's like, "Your sheriff sure is kind of a meanie."
And what's meant to be the like ominous line is the woman just goes, "Oh, everyone knows everything about everybody in this town."
Yeah.
Because we're werewolves.
Because we're werewolves.
I guess. Back to sex once again, interrupted by howls.
And here's another thing I love. Okay, in the first scene when it gets interrupted by the howl, she goes, "Did you hear that?" And the boyfriend's like, "No."
Yeah.
And she goes, "I don't know what that sound was. It was so mysterious."
Yeah.
Clearly a wolf howl. Yeah. And then later, she will even ask sheriff and the nice couple, "Do you guys have wolves around here?" And they'll go, "Oh no, well, I heard a howl." And the sheriff at one point will say, "Oh, that was probably a coyote." And they're like, "I don't know about that." And then when she asks the kindly couple, like, "Do you guys have wolves around here? Because I heard a howl." They go, and the woman goes, "Oh no, that was an owl." That was another one of my favorite lines. That must have been an owl.
Well, it's also one of those things too. And
did you just take an H off of howl and turn it into owl? The two sounds, the hooting of an owl and the howl of a wolf, are not synonymous.
Not even close. Not even close.
Not even close.
Probably just an owl. I also just love the way that everybody's like, no, absolutely no wolves at all. Which I get that they're supposed to be cagey, but also like it's like a foresty setting. Who's to say there aren't wolves?
Yes, a much less suspicious answer would be, well, I don't know. If there are, we haven't seen them, but there could be some in the woods.
Yeah, I just love the idea of no, definitively, we absolutely know there's not a single wolf in that forest.
What did you call that animal?
Yeah.
A wolf? A what? Wilf? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
I've never heard of this thing, but I know for a fact that they're not out there.
I know they're not out there.
Yeah, that's a given. We have absolutely no wolves anywhere near the vicinity of this town.
I also want to say, and I know we're kind of jumping around, but one of the things my favorite actor in this movie, my favorite actor in this movie dies way too soon in it.
Oh,
and that is
okay. Go ahead.
The dog.
Oh, yes. Yeah, well, because that's actually, you're not jumping ahead, because that's this scene. After this howl, she goes, "The dog's missing," and Pretender could give a fuck that dog is gone.
Pretender doesn't give a shit. He's like, well, it's a flaky dog, and it's its first time in the country. It probably just went for a run.
Your dog is missing in the woods at night, and you're not concerned? Monster!
And then her response, like, nothing in this movie, like, whoever wrote it and it is like a combination of like three people.
Clive Turner, I give it to because he also edited the movie. So
yeah, they've never spoken or met people.
Yeah.
And so they're working from a disadvantage. That I understand.
Yeah.
But her reaction is to go overboard with now I won't just notify the neighbors. I'll go to the police about the missing dog.
She goes to the sheriff.
And I don't blame the sheriff for going, look, I mean, it's possible it ran off and it'll come back. It's possible it was eaten by something out there because it is the woods.
Yeah.
You're like, Jesus Christ, woman, you don't go to the police about your missing dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So,
but I did like the dog because it was a cute little white poodle.
It was.
And here's the thing about white poodles. They don't know how to act badly. They act like a dog. I was like, oh, that's an adorable pooch. And it was lively. It was running all over rocks and stuff.
Also, the idea that the poodle ran off and is going to have fun in the woods. Yeah, that's not really the kind of dog that can, like, do well on its own in the environment, you know?
Well, we find out what happened to the dog pretty soon, but anyway.
Yeah, so the husband leaves because he's got to go back to work. And
in L.A. I will return in a few days.
I gotta go pretend to be a doctor this week. So Marie goes into town and she's talking once again to the kindly wife of the shop. She goes, "Hey, what happened to the people who had the cabin before us?" And she's like, I don't rightly know.
Right.
Yeah. Mysterious, I guess. Which is this whole movie is like, I guess that's creepy. Sure.
It's not.
Yeah. Oh no, she said she sees a woman in black starting to walk out into the trees, and she's like, "Oh, it's that nun again." Oh no, wait. It's the curio shop mysterious sexy woman owner.
Wow.
Yeah. And oh no. This is where she will find the severed dog head.
Marie
or whatever
wanders
it is,
into the woods, and there's like a little cave, and she goes in the little cave, and there is the severed
wolves
head
and their
of the
beloved
dog.
wolf caves.
Oh yeah, wolf caves. Yep, dog's been killed.
Yeah, and
best actor in the movie.
She runs away because she hears growling in the distance. Ooh. Growling. So she must call him, I think. Or no, has he come back at this point? Anyway,
maybe
she tells the pretender, and he goes, "Oh, you saw the dog's severed head? I'm gonna call your doctor and get you some more meds. You're obviously crazy."
Yeah, you're like a lunatic, so I'm gonna make sure that you get your medicine.
Yeah. And then this is when she turns and sees the ghosts of the old couple who lived here going, "Get out! You don't want to stay here." And I went, "What?" At this point, we're like a half hour into the movie. I'm going, I don't know what the fuck is happening in this film.
All I can say is I didn't sign up for this.
No.
And I don't mind the blending of various types of horror.
That's fine.
But in a werewolf movie, she's having visions. I don't want phantom nuns in my werewolf movie. Unless they're well done and there's a reason.
Or old ghost couple.
Old ghost couple going, "Get out." Yeah. And she also has a vision of ghost nun in the house, and later we'll find out why.
Well, because right the next scene is this woman showing up and going, "I heard you were out here. I love your books. You're such a good writer. How do you come up with your ideas?"
This, like just like, I hope you don't mind that I'm disturbing your vacation, but I'm a huge fan of your books. By the way, I used to be a nun, and hello, can we be best friends now? And they do become like Nancy Drew and her best pal George.
Talk about another Will Ferrell movie. It's the Step Brothers thing. Did we just become best friends? Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that
they are immediately best friends.
Because she's like, come in and have coffee. And then we cut to it's later, and now they're drinking orange juice. It seems like they've been together all day. Jesus. This woman is... Well, you know why? Because she's alone in the woods and cut off. She's starved for any human interaction.
That's kind of true.
And her husband keeps going off to that mysterious curio shop.
In the hands of a writer,
I don't know.
And I was going to say a better writer, but in the hands of a writer, you could build the blocks of hypocrisy that the boyfriend is doing, because he's jealous about the flirty thing between Marie and her agent.
Yeah.
Then he's jealous about the friendship between Marie and this woman, the ex-nun. And then meanwhile, we of course realize he's having an affair with sexy shopkeeper. So he's a total hypocrite. And later when he calls out, he's like, well, I don't want to deal with a crazy woman and her ex-nun lesbian friend. And I'm like, where did the lesbian thing enter in? Because I don't even remember at any point them discussing the new woman's sexuality. Yeah. But he does lay into Marie about her friendship with this woman. And you're like, God damn it. He's a piece of trash character, but also delivered with all this intensity.
Yeah. Well, aren't you glad this guy will write the next Howling movie and then write and direct the one after that?
Yes,
this
it's
is
in
Clive Turner.
Safe hands.
It's my Howling trilogy.
Howling.
I am curious, because it's the same guy, will there be continuity between this? Is this the beginning of a new continuity of Howling stories?
Holy shit. Oh, I hope so.
Like this kicks off and we keep dealing with the ramifications of this. I would love that, because I think everybody's dead or a werewolf by the end of this movie.
I believe so.
Yeah. Let's see. So, Marie... she said she's been hearing the howling. And then she talks about... And this is when the ex-nun woman is like, howling, you say? You know, I had a friend who was a nun, and she said she heard howling out here.
Yes.
Before she went crazy.
Yes. And eventually she'll show Marie a picture of her old buddy, Sister Brooks.
Yeah,
yes,
whatever.
That's a dig at Elizabeth Brooks, who played Marsha the Werewolf Woman in the first movie. Yes, that was intentional.
Take that!
Take that! Reluctantly naked woman.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't quite know what she did to anybody involved in this movie, but
right. But she shows a picture of the nun to Marie, and Marie is like, "Oh my God, that is the woman I've been seeing in my visions," and that surprised the fuck out of me. That's when I saw the beauty of the script, because it suddenly opened up, and I was like, "Yes." I'm just like, everything's being tied together.
Oh,
It was the usual suspects.
I was going to say, Chris McQuarrie-esque, man. This thing just keeps the reveals coming. Oh, I never knew what twists and turns we were headed for. Jesus.
This thing has no twists or turns. This thing is a straight line. It is so straight that there are literally geographers who say this is the most perfectly straight thing that has ever existed.
The shortest distance between 2 points is the Howling Four.
Howling Four, the original Nightmare.
No, in fact, like when they show the picture of the nun and it's the woman she's seen, it's not a reveal. It's like, well, of course. Yeah. Obviously.
And I will say that the acting, you would hope that that's an intentional undersell, because she's like already knows as a character that's going to be who it is.
Yeah.
No, it's just like everything in this movie, underacted.
Oh God.
When the boyfriend gets attacked and horribly clawed, I love that her reaction is kind of like, oh, let's get you inside.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, because the makeup looks like he is nearly eviscerated on the shoulders. And she's like, I'm going to put a towel in that and call a doctor.
Yeah. We'll just get a Band-Aid on that and some Neosporin and you'll be fine.
Oh, Neosporin. Now, I'm sorry. This is going to sting a little bit.
Yeah. But I got to put the alcohol swab on it. Do we have any peroxide?
Fuck this fucking movie. Fuck it.
Well, let's talk about the Pretender comes in here with this is so shitty. He comes in and he's got a doll, like an old ragged doll, and he just drops on the table. He's like, "You didn't see a dog's head. You saw this fucking doll, you crazy bitch."
We saw him find it out in the woods.
Yeah.
He brings it in,
and he is just like,
it has like a mop of white hair on top, or yarn hair.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is what you saw, not a dog head."
Yeah.
And she's like, "I'm not a fucking idiot." And he's like, "Whatever, crazy loony bird."
Yeah, let's get some more pills in you. God, I hate you for being crazy. No, he has none of that.
I hate
energy.
you for interrupting sex constantly with the, "Did you hear that?"
Yeah, who cares? Let's fuck to the sound of the howling, baby.
I'm sorry, I'll stop doing it. I'll stop
howling. No, that's all I can think during any Howling movie is I want that.
Yeah.
Was it in the cold,
and I want the
night,
singer to constantly look to the camera every time he does it.
Yeah.
Howling. Do you notice I'm in a movie called Howling? I'm singing about the howling.
Did you hear the howling last night?
It's time for a fan edit of this movie where every time they say the word howling, we just do the sound clip of the guy singing the word howling.
Wait,
did you hear that? Howling.
I think I hear a howling outside.
Oh, no, that was a coyote or owl.
Yeah. You're saying that an owl can make a howling sound? Howling. Oh yeah, get out of here, you Oingo Boingo wannabe! Jesus Christ.
They were trying so hard.
Oh God, yeah. And the guy even kind of looked like a Danny Elfman knockoff.
He did.
Yeah. That band not playing Coachella recently.
Apparently not.
So anyway, yeah. So he finds the doll's head, and she's like, "I know what I saw," which is a classic horror movie thing. I know what I saw. And actually, people say it in real life, too. I love all the Bigfoot guys going, "Oh, you can tell me whatever evidence you want, but I know what I saw."
It was Bigfoot.
It was a Bigfoot if I've ever seen one. Yeah, that's the problem, where we don't think you ever saw one.
See, there's normal feet.
Yeah.
And every now and then, you're going to see a very, very big foot.
Yeah.
And so I know what I saw. It was an extremely big foot.
Yeah, it was the biggest foot I ever. I couldn't look away from his foot. So then it just this really confused me. Suddenly there's this other couple, and she's like wrapping the woman's ankle.
I think something got cut here because literally there's no introduction for these characters. What we're led to believe is they are also visitors, like hikers, that drove to this area because their van or something will be important. And they must have, outside the cabin where our main character, they must have had some little accident. Because, yes, this couple is suddenly in the cabin, and Marie is wrapping up the woman's leg, like going, "Oh, you just sprained a thing, and I know how to wrap a sprain." And they're like, "Thanks, you're so nice."
Yeah.
And you're awesome. And she's like, "That's fine. And we're also fans of your books. That's great.
Thank God I took that sports medicine class at the community center."
Yeah. And now we're going to go out hiking again. Okay, fine. See you later. 5 minutes later, they're hiking, and we're at the 40-minute mark, and they get killed by a werewolf we don't see.
But it's all in first-person werewolf, right, of them being killed, yeah.
It's werewolf cam.
Werewolf cam.
And, they go out hiking in the night, even though she's had a sprain. So this couple... They do, I guess, give names because Marie will be like, "Has anyone seen those people, the whatever they're called?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "We don't know anything about them.
We've never heard of them." But then...
But talk about story construction. They're introduced out of nowhere.
Yep.
Then we see them hike and get killed.
Yeah.
I mean, just like instantly.
One scene later, they are dead.
Yep.
It's... Oh, boy. But then... what's this? Being towed into town is the camper he mentioned having, the husband of the couple that has no camper. Wait a minute, that's their camper.
Yeah, I'd know it anywhere.
They go, "I don't know, it was abandoned out there in them woods."
Oh yeah, like the sheriff guy not the sheriff,
but
the tow truck driver. The tow truck driver guy goes, who I think is the screenwriter guy. I think it's his...
It is. It's Clive Turner.
Good job, Clive. But he's like,
well, he's in all of these, by the way. So we'll be looking for him Stan Lee style in all of them.
he goes, maybe it did belong to those people that you met. He goes, but they don't take good care of their stuff. They just left their belongings behind.
Right. Yes.
Finders keepers, losers weepers. Bye.
Mm-hmm.
That's how his scene ends.
That's how his scene ends. But don't worry, because the Pretender, he's got a gun now. He goes, honey, I bought this rifle, and I shot this rabbit for dinner, except rabbit is gross.
Yeah, it's like she does cook it, and they're eating it, and then he goes, I'm sorry, next time I will shoot a bird.
And she goes, next time we go out to dinner. That's the only joke in this movie, and it's terrible.
It also solidifies for us, the audience, their deep love. Like we finally see some real affection.
That's it, man. That was when I was like, I really believe in this couple at this point.
We don't.
No.
That's a lie. I lied to them again.
Because he's just pretending, Brendan.
And doing such a poor job. He became a much better pretender.
Yeah, I really believed when he was a lawyer, doctor, nuclear physicist, whatever he was pretending to do.
I always believed every single scene he was in As the World Turns. He really delivered Days of Our Lives.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's get it. Like
Days
through the hourglass.
Days of Ryan's Hope.
Yeah.
Days of Our Guiding Lights.
Ooh, Ryan's Hope. That had Captain Janeway, so I kind of approve of that.
Nerd.
Yeah. Hey, whoa, let's not drag Ryan's Hope into this. That was Kate Mulgrew's debut. She's great.
Not Mrs. Columbo?
Oh, God. One of the weirdest shows, and as a huge Columbo fan, that really throws me.
Look, I will say this, though. Kate loves a mystery. All right.
That's my favorite, is when they're like, let's ditch the Columbo comparison. That doesn't make sense. Because it didn't make sense.
Nope.
So, let's see. They... where is this here? Okay. Oh yeah. This is where she finds out about the bell tower, because she's talking to the ex-nun, and she goes, you know, I've been seeing your friends. Like, yeah, she came up here because there's a bell tower from the 16th century here. What is this about?
That doesn't make
They talk about they moved
the bell tower is from the 16th century, but it was transferred over from Romania.
You know, home of the werewolves.
Yeah, and we'll find out that has its own like myth story behind it.
My God, there's so much like mythical, so much like myth-making exposition in this movie, and none of it pays off in any way. So it's just, I mean, like, what does the bell tower even fucking matter at all in the plot? Really? I mean, yes, it does. It does.
Well, yeah,
I guess.
The ending. It's vital at the end.
I know, but it's like it didn't need. Let me say this: did it need to have this 16th century origin and stuff like that? Like, I mean, it's the idea of the bell tower because the bell draws the. Oh, for the love.
Well, I mean, there's what this movie postulates about.
Oh, let me ask. Okay, the bell tower is fine, maybe. Yeah.
Makes no fucking sense.
No,
I mean, and isn't explained well. So
this is what I'll say: you got two options: Ghost Nun or Supernatural Bell Tower. Doing both, that's a lot of info dump on us. You know,
it is, and especially when
once we get the priest involved and stuff, you're like, oh my God.
There are two side characters that are exposition characters that piss me off because the movie's slow enough, but every scene with the local doctor, every scene with the local priest, where it's just, I will say a thing to indicate to the audience that there is a conspiracy in town and all these werewolves are in on it.
Once we get this, it just turns into these two as this detective duo now. We've got Marie and the ex-nun.
That's what I'm saying. It's Nancy, Drew, and George.
It really is.
We're teaming up.
Oh, except
because boyfriend doesn't want anything to do with anything.
It's Nancy Drew and George, except for I like Nancy Drew and George.
Yeah, I know.
They're likable characters. So they go and see the local town doc.
Yeah. Again,
they go and see the town doc, and they go, "Oh, come to think of it, I did treat that nun who was here. Yes, I did."
And she was a crazy.
Yeah, she was one of them. I do love that this guy just has like Valium just in a cabinet in here, going like, "Be careful with these, but they should help." He's a harumphing town. Oh yes, I'm the town doctor.
But also, I mean, this is all community theater, and it's bad community theater because he's like, I am kind of a lovable grump, but sweet. Yes. Like he's this cartoon of like, I'm
me,
just a local doctor. And then the town priest is like, why, of course, come in, take a look at these books that I have that will tell you things. Yeah. Oh, yes, Sister Brooks was troubled, but I think I have her Bible here. It will have a message inside that's very important.
But also they go, well, she asked me about a book on exorcisms, but I told her only a priest can perform exorcisms. In fact, the book is gone.
Uh-huh. She also said, fuck the patriarchy.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
And she did, it's like, oh God. And then the note in the Bible is like something like, beware the demons. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite lines in the movie, so they go, demons, much like werewolves.
Yep. We actually have in this movie.
What?
A couple of parts which seem like they're inner monologues, but we actually see mouths moving, which means ex-nun at some point stopped and just muttered to herself, demons, like the devil, or werewolves. Werewolves are of the devil. It could be this. And there was also a phrase that Marie hears in her visions. The spectral nun says, we are all fear, or we are something.
Oh yeah,
fear.
There's something like that,
and it will be a big reveal, and by big reveal I mean shit, terrible reveal, where she starts mumbling those words together. Also, she also mumbles until the we are all made of fear here or something. It becomes werewolves are here. Yeah. Werewolves are here.
Oh my
God. And I'm like, fuck this movie.
This goes back to Alucard backwards,
Look, just because I am also from Mississippi doesn't mean that I am Elvis, and I get that a lot. But another reason that I get that comparison is I tend to shoot TVs. And around that time, put a fucking 38 slug right through my widescreen TV.
You've done it enough that the police don't even respond. If they see
they don't respond. They're like, oh God, it's him again.
Hear a gunshot on that street. They go, oh, that's Jones shooting another TV.
Yeah,
let
but
it
they
go,
also
boys.
Go, oh shit, this was the Howling 4 night. Yeah. They actually know my schedule, so they
listen. The Portland Police Department listens to.
This. Oh God, fuck this movie.
Yeah, let's get through this here.
Let's speed it up. There is nothing worth talking about.
Wait, we should talk about this cross-cutting scene where she's home alone because the pretender is doing the mysterious lady.
And as we said before, doing as in
they're two nude people on top of each other.
And he's barely nude, and I wanted more of that pretender.
He's got his shirt off. I'm pretty sure he's got his jeans on as she's riding him.
All I can say is he is giving a performance worthy of a CPR mannequin. He is literally...
Yeah, they could have swapped him out for a dummy, and we wouldn't have known the difference.
He is lying dead still in what I can only assume is erotic bliss.
He's so turned on, he's frozen in place.
And again, the actress is attractive, and she is naked.
We're not here to say that it's the performance that is lackluster.
As a heterosexual male, it did nothing. No. I just sat there going, okay.
Yeah.
Next.
I mean,
I said next.
Beyond a brief, well, yeah, she looks good. Okay.
All right.
But yeah.
Thank you. I said, thanks for playing, is what I said to her.
Yeah.
Thanks for playing.
It almost gets to, you and I were talking last night about sketchy nude models. It almost gets to that level of detachment where you're just like, I acknowledge she is naked. But there's nothing sexual about this at all. It's very.
I actually did pause it, not so I could do anything else, but I did a quick study, a quick sketch in charcoal and Conti crayon, and
really nice,
I appreciated it.
Really good.
I tipped her at the end. I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah, very
excellent model.
Yeah. I tipped a woman from a movie from 1988. Oh, I will. I'm glad.
Track her down.
In fact, I'm glad we said 1988. I'll save it for the end. I'll tell you what movies you could have seen in November of '88 instead of this, because this came out in November. Great time to bring out a horror movie too after Halloween.
It showed on 4 screens and then was straight to video.
Yeah, it went to video pretty quick. Yeah. And obviously did well enough that they greenlit Howling 5 with this guy writing again. So so while he's doing that, she hears more howling outside, and she grabs his rifle and starts shooting at the neighbor's dog. I'm sorry, a wolf. Good God, there's this clearly just a dog running away as she takes some shots.
Yep.
And so then when the pretender comes home, she tells him about, after his sexy night, she says, there was a wolf outside, I shot at it. And he this is actually my favorite moment from him. He goes outside with the rifle, like, I'm gonna go look for that wolf, and then gets as far as the porch and then goes, she's crazy, forget it. I'm not gonna bother. There's obviously no wolves out here, we know that for a fact.
Yep.
So he turns around and heads back in, but we cut to the ex-nun going, I believe you, there was a wolf. Great.
Well, but clearly she's just trying to get in her pants.
Yeah, with all the lesbian subtext in this movie. This is a lot like really... Dracula's Daughter again, man, you know.
Yeah.
So
God, I'd rather watch Dracula's Daughter. I'd watch it right now.
100%. 100%. I'll say that. I will say this. I would rather watch any Universal monster movie than this. Anyone, even the worst. Give me Ford and 4N. Seriously. This movie could have used some Ford and 4N energy in it.
Give me some morbidly obese Karis staggering after a car.
Lon Chaney Jr. would have livened this movie up.
God damn it.
That boring sack of booze would have livened this movie up, I'm telling you. So at this point, she's starting to not believe, and she goes, well, maybe I do just need my Valium. And this is where she goes to the local doctor, who gives her the Valium. And she goes, yeah, it's crazy. Last night, I thought I shot at a wolf. And the doctor gives us like, a wolf? Yes, that is crazy. You're like...
Again, what are you talking? What kind of animal are you referring to?
By the way, based on our performance, TV's Cannon played the doctor. Yes.
He doesn't sound like that at all. It's just he does have a kind of like, what? That's insane. I've never. No wolves. There's no wolves around here. No.
I'll have to call Jake so he and I can investigate further.
Okay, fat man.
By the way, that's what people tune into this podcast to hear. Very topical references like Jake and the Fat Man and Cannon.
We haven't gone off on a crazy like a fox rant yet, but we will eventually.
Oh, it's coming. We're also going to talk about the short-lived Nero Wolf show that he did.
I remember that.
Yeah. Then we'll get to 10-Speed and Brown Shoe. That's just, we're jumping to other...
10-Speed and Brown Shoe, I could talk about all day long.
Yeah, that was a gem that didn't get its due. He goes, and tell your husband to be careful on those steps. And she's like, what are you talking about? He goes, well, the previous owners had to leave because the husband broke his hip on falling through those steps.
And she's like, whatever became of that couple? Or maybe that was in the earlier scene.
No, what I love is he's like, before you leave, I have some more exposition for you.
Yes.
Don't go yet. I have to tell you something.
He does say, he says, well, after that, they went to one of those big Jewish hospitals in New York. It was I was like... What?
Yeah.
You could have just said went to a hospital in New York, but also that seems extreme to go cross country.
One of those
to go
Jewish
to a
hospitals. You know the type.
Yeah, where they treat Jews.
The Jewish. All they're looking for is your money. because they rule the world
and giving you excellent health care.
He just
those
Jews, I tell you. It just turns into this long anti-Semitic rant from this guy out of nowhere.
And everyone's uncomfortable. Yeah, everyone's uncomfortable.
I don't know if this guy's a werewolf, but he's a piece of shit. That's for sure. Jesus.
He's a piece of shit.
Oh, don't even get me started on the Mexicans. Oh, God. Jeez, yeah, I gotta go.
The actual producers of this actual film are like, hey, can we cut there? Can we cut? We're going into some very dangerous waters here.
I'll tell you, they're taking our jobs is what they're doing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, well, it's weird. In the script, it just said fancy hospital, but every time he said the line, he said that Jewish hospital. I don't know.
And I hate those Czechs. Don't get me started on the Czechs or the Albanians.
They know what they did. Oh, boy.
They know what they did.
We had another 45 minutes of him ranting. All on the cutting room floor. Yeah. So she comes home and what is it? I have the pretender loses it on Marie because was it? Oh yeah, because he goes, "We got to get out of here. You're obviously talking crazy."
Yeah.
Which when he goes outside, he's like, "Oh, I need some air." That's what it is. He goes, "You're talking. I can't handle your craziness. I need some air." And walks outside where sexy werewolf lady is just right outside, so they can bang in the woods right outside the cabin. Where
they bang in the woods for a little chunk, and then she literally just bites.
They start making out, shoulder. And then she just chompa, man.
She chompas.
Yeah.
And you know, this wasn't as sexy.
A big old bite out of the pretender.
And he staggers, and then Marie is like, "Oh, boyfriend's outside. Oh no, you've been hurt.
Yeah.
Come inside. I have towels.
Come on inside. Oh no."
And she goes, "I will take you to the hospital." And then he goes, "No hospitals." And he goes, "Don't go outside."
Yeah.
This is the one time where I guess he redeems himself slightly. He goes,
I don't know what this guy's deal is.
The wolf is still out there. It was a wolf that did it.
Yeah.
Don't go out there. It'll get you too. And she's like, I'm justified. He saw a wolf.
And then we cut to now the doctor is coming downstairs going, "Well, he's all right. Don't you worry." She goes, "Oh, did you do anything for those bite marks?" He's like, "Bite marks? I didn't see any bite marks. He fell down a gully and he's a little scratched up, but he's okay."
And she goes, "No, he told me himself he was bitten by a wolf." Yeah. And then when she goes back in to talk to him,
he's going, "I don't know what you're talking about. I fell down a gully.
I fell down a gully and I got a little scratched up." He says it the exact same way.
Wolves talking silliness.
Again, you with this made-up word. I don't know what a wolf is.
Everybody's lying about the wolves, but the doctor's so bad at it. I love it. Or he's just like, wolves? Wow. Not in these parts, I don't. I know for sure. Yes.
I mean, possibly a wombat or two, but not a wow. Say it again. Say it again. I didn't.
Oh, that's just a nonsense word you made up. Jeez.
A wild? Yeah. No wilds around here.
He's just become a Will Ferrell SNL character at this point. Just wear this made up
and
crazy
so
word.
Clearly, by being bitten, boyfriend is now in the pack, I guess, and he's gonna tell her nonsense.
Yeah. Well, isn't this a perfect time for hunky Australian book agent to show up?
Yeah.
How you doing? I'm here with my chiseled jaw.
No, you need to flatten that out. You need to flatten that affect out.
Yes, because I'm doing my American accent, kind of.
Yeah. It's like, how's the book writing going?
Yeah. He shows up and he does make a move. Like, she's at the sink and he comes up and puts his arms around her and the pretender is not having this.
And his wound looks a lot better.
Yeah, and he very half-heartedly kind of shoves this guy and is like, "Stay away from my woman." And he's like, "I wasn't doing anything."
Oh yeah, I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm working on my Australian. I'm almost there.
By the end of the movie, that's what he sounded like to me. Yeah, and so he's like, "I don't think so," and does he punch him? I guess, kind of.
Yeah, there's like a short scuffle.
Yay!
Take that.
Yes, I saw.
I don't want you near my lady, and get out of town.
Yeah.
Make sure you stop somewhere and get killed first, though.
Yeah. So
he actually says that. Make sure you stop somewhere and get killed first.
Will die.
Which is what happens.
Yeah. So what do I have here? They go to see the ex-nun, and the license plate on the... What is this?
What they discover is,
I love when I'm reading my own notes going, I don't...
There was some nonsense about the detective work was she had her agent guy.
That's what it was.
Look up these plates. They found the New York plates in the tow truck driver's garage.
Yeah.
And they wanted to make sure that it was a license to the couple, the hiking couple, or the old couple. I don't even remember.
No, it's because what it ends up being is that the old couple that was there before were the nun's parents.
Yes, we can just skip to the reveal, which is, that's why she had visions of the old couple and the spectral nun in the cabin, because that's where the family lived.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Whatever. Anyway, the agent's on his way out of town.
And the town has covered it up. That's why the license plates had been removed.
Anyway, the agent is on his way out of town when he sees the pretender standing in the road, or he's laying in the road, and he's like, "Oh no, pretender, you okay?" And then he's immediately seized upon by a pack of wolves that are all around him.
Yeah.
Champa Champa. This is our first look at some
these
pretty
are
piss-poor werewolves.
what we're talking about, the normal people werewolves.
Pretty piss-poor werewolves.
Yep.
And he's like,
plastic fangs on a scale of what Nicolas Cage had.
And lots of fake blood. They're trying to sell this as grisly, but it's just... They basically just dumped buckets of fake blood on this guy. And he's like, no, I'm being eaten. I did think it was unnecessary that he said, I'm being eaten. I don't... Yeah, a lot of... Once again, what I love about the low budget here, lots of blood, but no like actual tearing into him at any point. It's all just implied with blood around, but they can't afford
the
like
crowd over him, and they might be doing something with their hands.
But you never see, like in American Werewolf or this, like any actual like teeth or claws into flesh. You can't.
Well, you do in the scene in the woods. She does chompa.
Yes, that's the only time we get
a dummy shoulder and takes like a chunk out,
and it looks bad.
Of course.
So then, Pretender is walking on his way back to the cabin, and he melts.
This is their weird ass. I mean, they're like, we can go better than American Werewolf. We're going to show you the world's most extreme, because I was confused. I'm like, okay, he's racked with pain. I'm like, all right, here's his first transformation into a werewolf.
But when he started melting into goo, I went, this isn't I don't know what.
It full on becomes like he opened the Ark of the Covenant. Full on. He melts into a puddle.
And then a wolf comes out of the puddle.
We see
his
weird. Flesh, every time they did a shot of his lower legs and his feet, which are clearly not, whatever, but they are just dumping tons of pink goo out of the pants legs. I'm like, he is shitting flesh. Yeah. It just looked like he's having a massive diarrhea explosion.
Oh, no!
But it's flesh.
I ate at Arby's. Why?
Chipotle, you've done it again.
No. The barbacoa was good, but not worth it.
I know that they were patting themselves on the back like no one's ever seen it this extreme.
Well,
if this is what becoming a werewolf is, fuck that. I'm not doing it.
Never seen this. But also, I love that it's only him that turns into a werewolf like this. Of course, we don't have the money to do it anywhere else.
Maybe it's the first time you have to do it this way.
You got to shit out all your human stuff.
But I will say the werewolf that rises out of the puddle of flesh and goo is terrible.
Oh, God, of course.
They're trying to do like a snouted American Werewolf in London because it's on its haunches and it comes up, and they're trying to do the extending of the snout, and it just looks like shit.
Oh, it looks terrible. So anyway, he runs at the cabin. Marie runs out of the cabin. She gets in her car. This is where we see all around her are the other werewolves peeking out from behind trees, and it is just people with fur glued to their faces and
plastic fangs that they got from the same shop in New York.
And all the wolves aren't doing anything. They're just like clawing at her car going,
Yep, that's it.
I guess they're trying to get her. Oh, they're trying to get her. They run from the scary werewolves. Oh, Jesus. But she is able to drive away from them, and then meets up with the ex-nun. But what's this? Oh, no, it's the sheriff with a rifle, and he shoots out their tires, so now they're on foot.
No.
Yeah, this is bad. They run into town, and there's the doctor, but, this is their other big scare moment, right, is when the doctor tears open the sides of his mouth to make the werewolf jaw.
Well, the thing is that what turns around and looks at them is this comedically, cartoonishly distorted version of the doctor's head. For half a second, I'm like, oh, great.
Yeah.
He's become a living cartoon.
Yeah.
And then he does do the grab of the cheeks and rips them apart so there's a wolf mouth coming out. And you're like going, I appreciate your ambition on this shot. It affects people, and it is terrible.
It is terrible.
Like everything else in this.
And in classic, what we've seen, 80s werewolf, it's going to take him a good 2 to 3 minutes to transform into a wolf. So they're able to just bolt.
Yeah, you can get the fuck out of town.
That's what I love about these werewolves. Are easy to get away from because they just stand there and transform for a long time.
Yep.
It's always a long process, so they can show off, in this case, bad makeup. Usually it's like, well, I don't care because that makeup is awesome.
So at this point, it's just our 2 female leads. They're the only ones in Drago,
and they're going
who aren't werewolves,
right? And they're going. We have to get them all to the old church, and then we can burn it down. And the way we can do that is we'll summon them with the old bell tower.
Yes, and then when they get there, it's like, oh. And then we can burn them because that's what happened to the original Romanian werewolves. Was they went in the bell tower and were burned.
Not a silver bullet inside in this movie.
No, there's no silver bullets. But it's not till they get inside the bell tower and have laid out their plan very nicely for us audience members. Like, oh, okay, that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah,
that's when Marie goes. But that means one of us will have to stay. And then ex-nun, possible lesbian, goes, "You go, Marie. I will do it."
Yeah.
No, that would be your death.
Whatever.
Someone has to set it on fire and someone has to ring the bell. I'll ring the bell. Okay, I'll go light the fire. And then she goes outside. Then
here's what I don't understand about this.
Bolts herself into the bell tower.
Yeah.
Starts ringing that bell.
Yeah. I don't understand. Once she rings does she have to keep ringing the bell until all the werewolves are there?
I guess so.
Because I was going to say, why not just ring the bell, get out of there, and then wait for the werewolves to show up? But
no, apparently you had to keep ringing it because it's all the town. You got to get all the town in there and their dogs.
Every last one of them. Oh yeah, it's mostly dogs.
Someone opened that pound and
bark, bark.
And again, the Baja men showed up and they're like, "I'm sorry to ask the question." But who let the dogs out?
We just, I know we've said it before, but we really do need to know this time who let the dogs out.
We really do. I mean, it's a funny rhetorical question, but at this point, I really do want to know.
You know, we've been asking for like 20 years. We'd really like an answer.
We really need to know who let these dogs out.
Who let those dogs out?
Because they are not wolves. They are black dogs running into this bell tower, along with some not transformed people with Brillo pads on their cheeks.
It's so shockingly bad.
And then Central Werewolf, who I guess is the doctor guy.
He seems to be the leader of the werewolves.
He's standing. One thing I didn't understand is he is in the bell tower, like in the full, this is where we get our puppet, practical, I'm actually the full werewolf.
Yeah.
And I'm like going, is there a hierarchy here? I don't quite understand.
Yeah.
But they are rushing to the bell tower, I guess, to tell her to shut up. Stop ringing the bell. So the door is being it's being not barricaded. Yeah, bashed, whatever.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, this is it. My life is running out. Yeah. Meanwhile, Marie's outside making a Molotov cocktail. And
she's put in the gas tank of the car. She's put like a piece of cloth.
And she's lit it from an oil lantern.
I guess puts the thing into neutral and pushes it at the church. So it...
Weirdly, this is the same ending as the Cliffhangers Curse of Dracula episodes.
Which is something we've talked about eventually doing over on the Patreon.
Spoiler alert for a TV show from 1977 or whatever. Yeah. But they end up lighting a Jeep on fire and shoving it into like the building that Dracula's in. It makes it go up.
It can only be better than this because anything.
Oh, it definitely is. Look, you just stifled a yawn, and I get it, buddy. I get it.
Even talking about the movie's boring.
Yeah. So anyway, Marie shoves the car into the bell tower.
You know what I love is, and this always happens. She lights the thing on the gas tank, yet for some reason it doesn't explode until it has to hit the church, and then the thing blows as if it's like a missile.
And the werewolves burn.
They're all burning. We see a lot of shots of them going, the burning. But
and it is one of those great things of you have actors who are the non-trans or the partially transformed, and they're doing their oh my god I'm burning, and you just have that foreground fire thing where it's like
it's the same thing we saw fire is nowhere we near just saw in Return to Salem's Lot.
Yep.
Same thing.
Poor little what's her name?
Tara Reid
going,
laid down.
Oh no, I'm on fire.
No. Yeah, boy, she had the energy of everyone in this movie in that scene. Yeah, so she sees the pretenders in there, and he's burning, and then, oh no, I like that. Maybe you shouldn't just stand there and watch the wolves burn, because one of them leaps right at the camera towards her. She screams, "Freeze frame!" and this movie's over.
Freeze frame.
Yeah.
Well, what's weird about the Jay Giles band? No, what's weird about the
their angel
that last bit is she knew this is how it was all gonna go. Yeah. She also knew that her boyfriend had turned into a werewolf.
Yeah.
But she's standing over his charred corpse.
Yeah, going
and no, she actually is calling his name as if she could wake him up.
Hey, pretender. What's his name? It doesn't matter. But,
Richard.
Yeah, it is. It's Richard. You got it.
Is it? Oh shit! Yeah. But she's like going
because he's a real dick in the movie. That's why you remember.
She's like Richard, as if he was gonna go. Oh, I'm gonna get better.
Yeah,
and then it is.
Don't you worry about me.
And then a werewolf leaps at her, and she goes.
Yeah, and then the well, I almost said the Moody Blues, but not the movie. Justin Hayward
shows up. Not actually shows up, but we hear him again.
Something
evil, something dangerous.
Yeah. Oh my god. And the movie. Thank God the movie's blissfully over. But I thought, so perfect that this movie ends on a freeze frame, which to me is always like a oh god ending. I hate it.
It's also ending. Like we just have no idea.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a quick scare out of this.
Clive Turner and the editors have just given up at this point. Oh, whatever.
Either that or they're, again, patting themselves on the back. They're like going, take that, Carrie.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah. Take that, Carrie. Take that, Friday the 13th. We're going to be the most remembered last moment scare. And that's why everybody remembers The Howling 4 as a masterpiece. Do they? No. I didn't even know anything about this movie prior to doing this podcast. I knew there were more Howling movies, but I could have given a shit. And I still feel that way. Good God.
But we're going to watch them. We're going to watch them.
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. We'll be there for Howling 5 The Rebirth next season. Or I think that's what it's called. Yeah, The Rebirth. We'll be there for every last one of these goddamn movies. Jesus.
I'm okay. I'm not threatening self-harm. I'm just saying I have nothing left. This movie,
I swear to God, Howling 5. I'll do it. I'll pull the trigger.
I just want to say to all the listeners out there, if you don't want to watch it, but you want to get the full, if you want to know what the next step up from this is, this movie has less plot, character development, pulse, suspense than the Hall of Presidents at Disney World.
Yeah.
Literally a bunch of robot versions of ex-presidents saying famous quotes by very stiffly standing up.
7 years ago. Yeah.
That is a thrill ride.
Yeah.
Compared to Howling 4. This killed me inside.
Yeah,
and I'm surprised we've talked about it this long.
This movie
we should have just done a half hour on this.
Death is yeah. Can I tell you about what movies you could have seen instead of this when this came out?
Yes, please bring it.
So this is November of '88. So also in theaters, you could have seen Dennis Quaid, John Goodman, and Jessica Lange in Everybody's All American. If you were looking for a drama.
Didn't see it in the theater, saw it on cable.
Yeah.
Good acting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, great cast right there. How about, though, if you were looking for horror, you had better options. How about Child's Play was out that week?
Oh, I saw that in the theater.
Child's Play, that first Child's Play, I like. It's a good movie. Yeah, it's a good.
I mean, it's a great concept, and Brad Dourif's voice acting's great.
Fantastic.
And then maybe it was always meant to go that way, but it instantly became, goof.
Can I just say, I love that on the poster I'm looking for, there's a poll quote from Roger Ebert giving Child's Play 3 stars with the quote, "Chucky is one mean SOB."
Nice.
Roger Ebert. You could have seen.
He wasn't afraid to cuss.
You could have seen Iron Eagle 2. For more of that.
I never did.
Good. That's probably good. You could have seen, because it is November after all, Ernest Saves Christmas. You could have seen, speaking of Australian accents, A Cry in the Dark with Meryl Streep.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see that in the theater, but it's good. Yeah, a dingo ate her baby. And it was one of the marsupials.
Yes. If you had your kids with you, you could go to the very first Land Before Time, which actually opened against Disney's offering, which was Oliver and Company.
I saw neither of those.
Oliver and Company's okay. I remember seeing that as a kid.
Billy Joel was meant to play a cartoon dog.
Yeah, and he did original songs. Why should I worry? That's the one I remember from that.
Very good.
But if you're going to a Christmas movie, forget Ernest Saves. Because by the way, this just came out in vaguely November, so I'm giving you all of the November releases. It's not like this is all one week.
So in other words, movies that I probably was ignoring anyway.
But I would say one of my holiday favorites, legitimately, is Scrooged. Richard Donner's Scrooged.
Did that come out around then?
That came out in the end of November '88.
Well, I totally did see that in the theater. Love that movie to this day.
Love it. Watch it every Christmas. And if you really were looking in for horror, man, one of my favorites came out right around this time, and that is John Carpenter's They Live.
Oh, They Live, yeah.
That's the horror movie
in the theater, saw it on cable.
If you were going to go to a horror movie in November of '88, you go to They Live. I love that movie. Yeah, that movie's a lot of fun. So yeah, those all, honestly, I'd watch Ernest Saves Christmas over this. I really would.
I would. Yeah, I would.
This movie could have used the Jim Varney energy.
That's no praise for that.
No,
it's just me saying anything
with some life in it. For the love,
I would watch Iron Eagle 2
over
over this.
God, I mean, just the presence
Lou
of
Gossett
Lou
Jr.
Gossett Jr. Yeah,
and
Jason Gedrick. Come on, no.
Actually, I always liked Jason Gedrick.
I like Gedrick.
He never did get a thing that really did anything.
But he had that Iron Eagle franchise. That was kind of his thing.
Well, yeah, and then on TV, what was that? Murder One or one of the legal things? Or
he did Boom. He was on Boomtown. He might have been on Murder One as well, but
I liked Murder One.
Yeah,
I wish that thing had
he did,
lasted.
and he did a good guest arc on Justified as well.
He's a fine actor and a handsome guy,
but literally
always deserved.
God, anything is better than this.
Jason Gedrick was the what's his name, Matt Bomer of his day.
Yes.
Where it's like, here is a talented enough actor who's also very handsome.
Yeah.
Give them a superhero franchise. Of course,
I don't understand a world where Matt Bomer hasn't played a superhero beyond voice work.
I know.
Yeah.
Man, it doesn't make much sense.
He was a good Superman voice in one of those DC animated things. That was a good use
absolutely.
of him. So yeah, don't watch Howling 4.
No.
It's a huge piece of shit.
It's beyond don't watch.
Yeah.
It's
avoid at all costs.
If our listeners have children,
yeah.
there might be an app out there that will map homes or businesses that are stocking Howling 4 just in their collections.
Avoid, yeah.
And you need to avoid. You need to like at least 500 yards or more.
I will say, apparently, if you were to try to buy this movie, you are most likely to get it in a 2-pack with Howling 5. They're often sold together. So,
wow, that's a great recommendation. I can't wait for Howling 5.
From the writer and producer of this. Imagine if he had more power. That's what we get
John,
for Howling 5.
I can't. Let's wrap it up. I can't even anymore. What are we watching next week?
Next week, actually, due to some miscommunication, you've already watched next week's movie, Brandon.
I wasn't going to say that because it now makes me look like an idiot. But I've already watched next week's
movie. I haven't. I don't think I've seen it, but I've only been aware of it. But yes, we are returning to the world of Fright Night with Fright Night Part 2.
I can only say in advance of you watching it.
It's going to look so much better having watched this.
I was going to say that. I was like going, look, I was making jokes with you last night saying like, oh, you're in for it. Yeah. And you were like, no, you're in for it.
Trust me.
And you were right.
Trust me, there's no way it can be as bad as this.
Comparatively, you are in for such a treat.
I mean, you've got Ragsdale, you've got McDowell. Right off the bat, you're light years ahead of this thing.
Holy shit, man! Doesn't mean it's good, but again, it's all by comparison. Yeah. Jesus, we're hitting a patch.
Yeah. Oh, and it's only going to continue throughout this because then we're going to get the double bill of Phantom of the Opera movies down the stretch here. Because we're only a few out from the end of the season here before we head to the wonderful 1990s. Which can I say? The little preview for the beginning of next season. First movie of season 5 in the 1990s, Howling 5: The Rebirth. That's how we start the 90s. So, yes, Clive Turner's Howling 5.
On a personal level, I enjoyed the decade of the 90s. It was a fun time for me in my life.
Yeah,
but,
me too. I have a lot of... We'll finally get to, because of my age, we'll finally get to my era with the 90s because I was a 90s kid. So
all right,
yeah, and we get to that's where some of my favorite. No,
they're good movies in there, and I'm looking forward to several of them. But boy, are there going to be some shit burgers.
I mean,
served up nice and hot.
Oh yeah. But I don't think there's a decade that we aren't going to get that though with these monster
No, that's
movies.
true. There's not a golden decade.
I will say,
you can go back to the classics and you go great, but again, there was plenty of shit in the 40s.
Having already mapped it out ahead. The 2000s, we're in for it. We're really in for it in the 2000s. That's where we really get.
Don't we get Dracula 2000 in the 2000s? And that is perhaps the greatest cinematic Dracula.
We start from there, and that's where you go. Well, actually, in the 90s, we will get my opinion legitimately of the greatest cinematic Dracula. But that's
talk about
that's
it.
A long promised conversation. So anyway, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Campbell and Jones Meet the Monsters. A rough one for sure. I'm John Campbell.
I'm Brendan Jones.
And remember, there are such things as monsters.
Oh, John, no, that's just an owl.